Take AFL finals to the Neds level with an early payout. Place a head-to-head bet on the AFL finals this week, and if your team's up by 12 points or more at halftime, you'll get paid out as a winner. How good is that? Applies to the first 250 staked. Single bets only, terms and conditions apply, and available on the website. Take it to the Neds level. Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Aces, I know I always talk about the RIXXs, but I got to offer you the discount again. In case you've forgotten or in case you're sleeping under a rock, we have a special discount code for everyone that listens to this podcast or watch the podcast. It's Aces. Head online to rixeyewear.com.au and use the discount code ACES and you'll get 20% off. That's right, 20% off, 1/5 at checkout and free express shipping. So head online, rixeyewear.com.au and check it out. All right, do we have a big show for you today? Let's get stuck into it. Welcome back to the Aces Premiership Countdown. My name is Tommy Sheridan. I'll be your host once again. Felix von Hoff is on the Gold Coast working on his rig, his tan and his voice box. Mick Barlow, Coach Barlow, hey. Big news, coaches into the grand final. And when it's September, we need to bring in the big guns. So Bradley Hill, the three-timer, 3 flags in 4 years. If you want to know the key to the key recipe to success,
I need him here for today.
We've got him on the couch, boys. Welcome to the podcast,
Tommy. Good to be here. But the main man's here. 3 and 4 years. Here's my trauma for you. 3 and 4 years. How long have you been playing?
I've been playing 12 years now.
What's happened in the last 7 years?
That trauma. Always off the top.
Good,
What's
mate.
happened, mate?
I went
Franklin there, brother.
Went the Freo and you left, mate, so we didn't win. And then, the Saners, we sort of, we played finals in 2020 and then played it again this year. So, I've had a little bit of a struggle the last 7 years, mate.
Hey, this year was a huge tick for the Saints. I thought
John was off them all year.
No, I was off the ball movement. I thought you used to play him slow.
Yeah, it took us a little while to get used to our ball movement and how we wanted to play.
Yeah. But and I will agree. I just thought slow, but defense very good. We know that the system.
Yeah, well, you guys know that system, I guess.
I guess I was always a player when we were watching, but now that you're on the outside, you want fast pace. You want Bradley Hill running down the wing, slicing and dicing, you know.
But we still want that in our ball movement, but I think we're taking a little bit of time to get that going and, we wanted to play fast and direct and that, and I felt like, later on in the second half of the year, we started getting that. And,
you did.
Is there a game?
First year under Ross.
Yeah, because I remember 2012 when Ross came, we were no good for the first half of the year. Like, couldn't score. We were probably, 4 and 6 or something going shit out. And then it just kind of turned. And we played finals that year. But was there a game this year where it turned for that ball movement stuff for you guys?
Well, I reckon we started off pretty well, obviously, like the first 7 or 8 games. Then we sort of went back a little bit. But I think sort of around 15, 16, we sort of started getting that connection and knew what we wanted from each other and the way we wanted to move the ball. There's still a lot to build on though. It's only been 12 months. I feel like we've got the right coaching group and the right game plan to get it going. But exciting times ahead.
On the coaching group, it's one of the most elite coaching groups. Like, if you can you read out the names that are in the box? Because I reckon it's one of the most
famous. I reckon. Yeah, obviously you got Ross the boss, and then you got Halves, you got Lenny, and you got Corey Enright.
So Halves, Lenny, and Corey Enright are Hall of Fame. Yeah, because Ross wouldn't be.
Yeah, but
so Ross got a bit of fish out of water.
We've got a strong coaching record though. You put them all together, there's something. I thought like Saners at the start of the year, like personally, I just thought you had a few injuries as well at the start of the year, like to key personnel, and you were winning heaps of games, so it was a pretty big pass mark, I reckon.
Yeah, especially those younger boys coming in, like even like Caminiti took on that role as that key forward. He wasn't even on our list until halfway through the preseason, and all those younger boys that are playing, like Mitchie Owens, Marcus Windhager, Nazar Wanganeen Miller.
Talk to you about him. He's unbelievable.
Which Mitchie Owens?
He's great, but Wanganeen Miller.
Yeah. So all these young boys, they're only in their second year and
skinny legs like Tom.
Well, mate, he can run.
He's got no calves. But all these young boys coming through and they play so much footy this year. That's just got to help us improve, next year and the years after. And Naz is one of my favourite players to see, and just how smooth he is with the ball in hand.
You both off the half back.
Because Owens and Wanganeen Miller
and Marcus Windhager.
Windhager's good, like really good second half of the year when he went half back. Those three, I reckon the first two in particular, they probably finished. Can they finish top 3 in your BNF? Owens and
Oh, you'd expect them to be
Top 5?
They'll be in the top 10 definitely, but
top 3's cheeky.
Wayne Van Miller, I reckon, top.
Yeah, he'll be
3.
up. He'll be up there. He had an unreal year.
He's consistently good every game.
He sort of went under the radar for those younger players. You know, there was not much talk about him, but he was racking it up.
There was talk about Owens potentially winning the Rising.
Yeah, well, the impact he had on our team, like he was definitely one of our better players, and one of the toughest players in our team for sure. And,
yeah, right.
Talk to us about some of the clips that used to get shown about
your Monday
toughness
morning trademark meeting.
Oh, no, Ross already said he's the toughest bloke in our team.
I heard that.
Mitchie Owens.
Oh, yeah?
Like,
where you sitting on that?
He's not scared of anything, and I think he just goes in head first, and he's inspirational.
It's nearly it could be a, what's the word there? It's like a great thing to get acknowledged like that. But he's also carrying now a mantle.
Yeah, he's got to do it every week.
Chris Main,
Head over it, son. If you don't, you're in a lot of trouble.
Because Maney was the same when we used to play with Chris Main. Yeah. He was like fearless. He'd run back like an absolute lunatic.
His hair would be flapping up.
Hair, and then he'd get up that face. Anyway, he used to say, he goes like, because it had built up so much, it's like,
more pressure.
The pressure. And he goes, I'd rather kind of get carted off, he's like on a stretcher than come up in a Monday morning for maybe just shifting out of the way. So
Ross is pretty good at that. Make sure you don't be dumb about it. Put your body in a good position and protect yourself. So
what I loved about Ross's training compared to like I love the Giants and everything that went there, but couldn't believe how hard we were tackling in that. And I used to fucking hate it, man, because I hate tackling. But like we were doing tackle practice and that, and that's why they're so tough and good in the contest and most. But like Ross was grass at training. He'd be like, "Don't do that shit. Don't do the training track.
Don't hurt your team.
Yeah. Be like, save it for game day kind of thing. You're like, no worries.
Five his ball.
Yeah.
Kick lower. Get off.
We're like
400.
Yeah. No, walk off. Wait. We'll wait for you.
It's fucking funny. What about the coaches? Back to the coaches though. I want to know a little bit. I know Lenny. Lenny's a ripper. I dealt with Lenny at the Giants and couldn't believe how good of a person he is. And he's just come. This is his first year back into it because he had a little spell. How is he? And how is the other coaches? Like, what have they brought to the table?
Yeah, no, they've been unreal. As you know about Lenny, he's one of the best blokes going around. I sort of had half Lenny, half halves, because halves does the forward line, and I just really enjoyed my year with him this year. Like probably last couple of years, I probably struggled a little bit, but I thought all the coaching group up there, they just made the environment like a really good one that you want to be around them, and they all bring their strengths as well, and even Corey doing the defensive side of things, and Ross lets them have a lot to say in meetings and stuff. So it's good to hear always hearing from different people. So. It's been awesome working with those guys this year. Has Ross taken a bit of a step back? Because like we've both had him at Freo when we were both stinking it up. Not both. You were flying. I was stinking, but we weren't winning games. And we know what happens when you're winning. You're having way more meetings and But like, have you noticed him step back a bit more? Or is he still up there a fair bit? No, pretty much like sort of when you do your your defensive stuff would be Corey, stoppages and stuff would be Lenny, and then ball movement would be Harv. So you're always hearing from the other coaches, but. Yeah, Ross can still dribble on in meetings, and meant to be a 20-minute meeting, 45 minutes later, he's still going. But no, he's been good, and even this year, going through games, like every game was just like the result was this feedback. So we didn't, even when we lost, like it was still sort of all right going into the club because this how do we learn, how do we get better, and just sticking to the process and. What we want to aim for, so it was pretty good. He looks way more calm, awesome. Man. He's been given some sprays, or have you taken it? He just doesn't look like he doesn't look as angry anymore. He's been pretty calm, but game day is still a little bit scary. Game day on Monday. Walk head down. Get home. Don't say mate. Just it's pretty funny. When you get into meetings and you're watching the clock in there, counting down the seconds. Yeah. Everyone's already in there. Ross always walks in like a couple seconds later, and people, ooh, and he just walks down, with his Berkeys on, head down. Makes me laugh. Rossi walks in late, yet I walk in 5 minutes early and I cop the biggest spray, get dropped from JLT, and I'm fucking not in the team till round 12. You know what I mean? Like, come on, big fella. I had a funny one this year actually. So my email must have stuffed up, and I had the old program from the week before, and it said meeting like 9 o'clock or 9:30. Yeah. So I rolled in 9 o'clock. I always try to get there half an hour, 45 minutes like early. Today, by the way. Bradley was here 30 minutes early. It's very, very. Yeah. And anyways, I get there at 9 o'clock. Where is everyone? No one's here. And and I've gone upstairs and they're like, they're in the meeting. Start at 9 o'clock. And I've got the 9 on the dot. So like, I don't want to walk into this meeting. Yeah. So anyways, I wait. He goes, it shouldn't be a long meeting. And they're going into, after that, like mental skills or whatever. And So anyways, it's half an hour gone by. I'm like, this meeting's still going. So I've texted Ross. I said, hey, Ross, I'm just upstairs. I don't really want to walk in the meeting. Like, do you mind like coming out and getting me? So Ross has come out, grabbed me. He's like, are you all right, mate? He rang me up. He's like, everything all good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just, I don't want to walk in the meeting room. So he's come in and walked me in and everyone's
You
like,
hold your hand through?
yeah, pretty much. So all the boys take the piss out of me, say, oh, Ross, can you come get me? Ross, come get me.
It's like that, man. I'll never forget the day I was late, and the next day I just hid.
Sit down. Just give him a seat there.
Oh, fucking hell. That's good. Are you drinking coffee? I'm going to see if Ross has got double standards. Are you drinking coffees in meetings?
No. Sometimes I'll ring him.
Mate, he booted me out of a meeting for drinking coffees once. That's not acceptable.
You can't pick and choose, can you? It's, coffees were gone, notebooks were in, eye contact was on.
I gave up the notebook by the end.
The eye contact's still there.
Yeah.
There's a couple little...
Get dizzy, don't you?
You're sitting at the back.
mate.
Where do you sit? Do you have your own seats in that?
Yeah, always. I sit at the back.
Do you find that like a lot of the stuff that you hear is like you've already heard it before? Like not saying you've heard it before, like you already know the game plan so well from a defence, or is it actually the game's evolved a fair bit and you need to switch on?
Oh yeah, we have changed things up a fair bit from like, last year and that, but sort of I guess this is like the big thing is sort of like what we're aiming for as a group, over our journey. Say if it's a 4-year journey, this is where we want to get to. So sort of, we always talk about sticking to that process and wanting to get better every day. But I think in footy everything's pretty similar. People, coaches, everyone sort of coaches similar ways, and you've heard it all sort of before. So, but it is like it's always some new little tweaks and stuff.
Who was the whipping boy? Like I felt like every year he had some whipping boys, and he used to get right around the
boy, weren't you?
Oh fuck! I want to know what it was. I was the fringe.
You were Tabs.
I'd feature in every clip. It'd be positive and negative every week. You didn't know where you sat. RFI, Sheridan. Fuck. Next week, fucking Sheridan, beautiful. Come forward. It's like a yo-yo. You'd be up and about every second week.
Nah, he hasn't. I'm trying to think who
he really like. When we were together, like my last few years, like Ed Langdon and like Lockie Weller were like his golden childs, and then I think Blake is like he was like Blakely, like you need to learn how to spread, brother.
He's retired, Connor Blakely, is that?
Hey?
Just retired.
Did he retire?
He's playing.
And he's playing this week. I had a missed call. I haven't talked to him for about 2 years. Rang me last Sunday.
Oh, he's getting your
Connor
head.
Blakely. Yeah, he has actually. I think he was on the lawnmower.
Yeah, he's on the outdoor. He'll be Jim's he'll be doing Connor's
his own.
Yeah,
Blakely's
landscape.
He was actually putting
Blakely's
down
backyards.
He was it's not Burke and Blakely.
Burke's backyard.
He's actually doing Rory Atkins' lawn the other day with a wide brim Gray Nichols cricket hat on. I said, fucking hell.
He needs to protect his face for sure.
Yeah, he needs some sunscreen.
So that's a good little insight into this year. But what about let's talk about the 3-5, where the Premiership Countdown train. We want to talk Premierships, and you walk into the league. So your first year was 2012, was it?
Yeah.
You didn't play in that grand final?
They lost. No,
they lost without you.
Yeah, that's why they lost, I guess.
And then what happened, mate? You came in and...
No, well, I timed it pretty, like I did time it well, but like I did time it well in a way. So first year I only played 4 games, pretty much the sub every game besides GWS because that was their first year and they were pretty average and all good. So here you go, Hilly, you can have a game. But then I guess like the blokes that were playing in my position, like Clinton Young, he left, went to Collingwood. Chance Bateman retired, and pretty much the only winger was Isaac Smith and. Then I was this young kid coming through and could run. And,
Two best runners I've ever played. These two, him and Smith. Fucking hell.
You're like the halfback to opposite half. You have a pattern.
You ran a pattern stuff. You ran like...
Yeah, we used to cross over.
You used to do illegal shit. Like you'd have a wing and then you'd be... I go, I don't know if I can see him out, but then if I get to the stoppage and you wouldn't go to it, I go, these blokes are out of control. But they had such great chemistry.
We had great connection. Like, and we'd talk about... And we'd like in training and stuff, he'd be like, if I'm on this side, then you just get to that side. And if same thing, if I go that side, he would just pull to that side. So
what like Clarko just allow you to...
Yeah, as long as we had them both covered off.
Yeah,
doesn't matter who it was. So
such a mini team within a team.
Yeah, pretty much. And there was a lot of coaches out there in that team. And I was pretty lucky. I was the youngest playing every year there. So second year, third year, fourth year, and that sort of got to happen every year. And it was amazing times. I've got a 10-year reunion this year.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
for 2013.
Yeah.
What happened? Oh, that was a tough year. I'm going to flip the trauma back on you, maybe. How were you feeling after the 2010?
10 years later, I've got a chance to to talk to my players about my experience. Like that game, the Hawthorn game, 2013, 10-year coming up. But the ability of that side, Hawthorn, to come out and kind of just get control of the game was unbelievable. 15 minutes to go in that game, and we were like, we haven't touched the ball. So we'd kind of had 15 minutes where it was just, we were flatlining a bit and playing catch up the whole day, which we got within 3 points, I reckon.
In that third quarter.
Yeah. And
Sonny took a mad hanging on the lead. Remember that little
virtual.
Yeah, it was like it's like on the lead hang. He's a gun, and that was like, oh, Freo's we're back in it.
Their experience the year before, like people say you got to go to one before you win one. I don't think it's necessarily true, but I think there was a fair bit in that day. A lot of those guys had played in the 2012 and lost, and probably learned a lot of lessons going into that next year. Yeah,
and I still remember getting there and reviewed it, watched the whole game, I'm pretty sure. And just went over that 2012 game, and obviously I wasn't a part of it, but it was pretty tiring by the end of it, watching every quarter.
It was a year, right? I can't remember what year it was. I reckon it was like, I just remembered this. One of your premiership years, might have been 2014.
Sydney,
because I had to go to a function at the game, and I was walking across like the road, and you drove past. And he's out the window. Hey, Mickey, hey! He's like just driving the game. Unflappable. I'm like, yeah, right. He's off to play the granny. Yeah. And I'm going to do something at the ground. I vividly remember that because it's like, that's pretty cool. He's pretty chilled out about it all.
I was so, because I was so young, mate. I didn't know any different. Like I was just playing grand final again, and like sort of just like I never got nervous for him. Like I was just so excited to get there, and I was always able to be myself and just muck around and
because you're the youngest as well. They don't expect much from you.
And Isaac was pretty similar, and we were close. And Isaac was always laughing and smiling on his face, and we were always allowed to just do that the whole time leading up to the game. So it was always good fun.
Oh mate, I still remember some goals you kicked. What about speak about your mum and so obviously your brother Steve, and we'll talk about him in a second. But I remember she had to wear like a special top because you're both playing in the grand final. Like, can you imagine, you had a brother playing an AFL grand final and you're both competing for your first grand, first grand final. So it's like
one of your sons is
it's always the classic. Which rooms does she go in first? Talk to us about that again.
Yeah, no, it was my junior footy club actually that got the Guernsey made for Mum. So it was obviously a special day for our family, and Mum, both her kids playing in it. So I still remember like even there's a couple of times in the first quarter when me and Stephen sort of had a little bit of a bump or a little contest with each other, and it was awesome being out there with my brother. But I still remember after the game, like seeing like him upset. Like I felt upset for him. Like I was like, you sort of like you wish you could give him one as well. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, like it was an awesome day to be out there, playing alongside against him. My mum being able to be there and watch us both. So yeah, it was an awesome day for our family.
How is Steve going, mate? I haven't seen him in a while, but it's always a great time.
He won a flag on the weekend.
Did he? Oh, that's great.
Tell us about the flag in a sec, but I know he's playing footy. And I was over there a couple of years ago, Perth, and he came out for some beers. We went for dinner. And I was like, we'll go to this bar after, and a few boys peeled off, and he was like, yeah, I'll come. And he had footy the next day. And to the point where I'm like, I'm going home soon because I've had enough. And I've got nothing on tomorrow. And he's like, no, I'll stay for a couple more. He's got gin or something, was it?
Yeah, gin. Yeah. Once he start, he can't stop, Stephen.
Yeah.
So, he's a bloody menace.
I've got a funny story on Stephen. He'll hate me sharing this. But I was hopeless, but I had an inspection for me rental.
Oh, shocking.
And I completely forgot. And I think we played a Sunday game, so we went out to Claremont. And then we had we come back at mine and we're just drinking and carrying on. And we had I'll never forget because I had like a spa. And when you get in the spa, mate.
Is that the house?
Yeah. The one in the North Fremantle one. Yeah. Is that the spa? That decking you could just get blind at and you just hose it down afterwards. Anyway, so I reckon we were 4 a.m. I reckon it was. No, people spill their drinks. We loved having parties, but just in that area. Crosby, bring everyone around. Anyway. And I remember we got real pissed and to the point I think Steve passed out on the couch and he's wearing his Bonds, those shorts, the small, what are they called? Not the briefs, they're called
white fronts.
The white fronts. He had the Bonds right fronts on.
Shout out to Tendai Bazunga who wears the white fronts.
Shout out Tendai. And he's got them on and he's passed out on my couch and I'll never forget, I was in bed and someone's knocking on the door, hello, are you there? And I'm like, let's go. Like it was early. It was like 7 a.m. I'm like, yeah, what's going on? She's like, oh, it's whoever from the rental.
Ray
from.
Fremantle.
And I'm like, oh shit. And anyway, she goes, oh, we just saw Stephen on the couch, and like apparently he was like, what are you like? He was like chirping. I'm like, oh, hey, like I'm trying to sleep. Anyway, apparently he's just sitting there in the wife fronts, just the big fella just passed out on the couch. And like if you knew Stephen, he like
he's not waking up.
No, he wasn't waking up. He's sleeping. He loves to sleep. But yeah, he hated that because once he woke up, he like panicked because he's so shy. He's like, oh, so apologised, and he's real embarrassed.
Yeah, he won his flag on the weekend actually, and I watched the last quarter, but I think he kicked 5 goals too, or whatever. But like,
is he still chopping?
No, well, last quarter he's not moving around well. He's just walking around. But you know, like he's had lots of soft tissue and stuff, so his body breaks down pretty easily. But yeah, he's still first half he played well, and then second half he said he just chilled out and just walking around.
Is he fit? I haven't seen.
He's a bit big. He's probably weighing high 80s and 90s.
There you go.
He's always had the big thick legs and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, he still looks all right.
He had strong legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, real strong legs.
So Gingin, is that who played for?
Yep. So they won the flag.
Is his little sidekick Andre? Wherever Stephen Hill was, it's like, oh, Stephen, you want to come around for catch shit? Andre's there. Oh, you're going out? Where are you going out tonight, boys? And yep. Hilly rocks up. Andre's there.
Yeah, he's a good man, Andre, so it's
played,
good.
Resis, but so when Stephen first signed with them, that he had a deal that when he played, Andre has to get 10 like first grade games, so he has to play in the seniors. But then Andre ended up actually playing a pretty good year, and he stayed in the team the whole year. But Stephen's like, I'm not coming unless Andre's playing.
Yeah, that's the way it is. You got to have a few incentives.
Yeah, definitely. But now he's playing for free, so he's playing for the love of the game.
Yeah.
Is he not playing? No cashies, you reckon?
No cashies, mate.
Really?
No, he doesn't. He's got a Land Cruiser.
Yeah. Loved his cars.
Oh,
Stephen.
yeah, he went through a few cars.
Yeah, so have
I. Oh, yeah, we've had a laugh about that. Well, let's get back to some more stories in a second, but let's get into it. Aces Premiership Countdown. It was a big week. Let's go through the tipping quickly. It was another draw. Mick tipped the D's as I did.
Who should have won?
Which I'm flat with because I still thought they should have won, but I've been tipping Carlton all year. And then we both tipped the Giants, which was outstanding. And we'll review those games. Instead of reviewing, we'll just preview the next ones and talk about them. So let's go to this Friday night, boys. It's the Giants taking on the Pies, Friday night football. Before we go to the Giants, how good's their social media team?
It's so good.
Have you seen some of the work? It is just incredible. And I think a lot of people are actually starting to follow the Giants because of the social media team and the fact that most of their teams are out and they don't like a few of the teams that are left. So I'm hoping that the Giants can, double their membership.
What's his name? Cooper Hamilton, who's a young rookie there. They get him on all the because he's not in the team. They're like, mate, you can just do this stupid thing, and he just does skits all week. That was what you and Dill were doing back in the day.
Not that good though. Like he's got some
thing, eh? Jack in and it's
stuff. Yeah. And then he did another one this week about like, come on, Port, move on. It's only been 2 days, and now get behind us. And the Giants, whoever the producer is there, they're doing a fantastic job. But let's talk about their game on the weekend and also this game coming up. What do you think? Collingwood, they finished on top for a reason, and we know how good they've been. We actually had Crispy on the podcast about a month ago talking about how they want to tighten up their defense. They played Essendon and they kept them to 30, and then they played who they play in that first final of Melbourne, and that was a real low-scoring game as well. But Melbourne probably didn't use the ball well forward to centre. They actually had way more inside 50s. So you could almost say Melbourne also dominated that game, but Pies won, and like Craig McRae's Fly would say, he just says, well, a win's a win. You can't just knock us because they won more stats. So, you could say their form's all right, but the Giants are absolutely humming all across the board. Sam Taylor, we thought come back a bit early and we're a bit worried, but he's been unbelievable. You just played them the other week. Like, what do you guys think is going to happen in this game?
Go to you with how the Giants are going on, because you played them, 2 weeks ago, and they look unbelievable.
Yeah, and they didn't even have Cogs playing either. Look at him on the weekend. Well, I think where we lost the game was, I think they just outworked us, especially even their midfielders, the way they get back, they outnumber at the contest. That's where we got beat up, the numbers around the ball, and they were able to outspread us, outwork us. We were a little bit off that day, but their midfield's unreal, and Tom Green, he's a star, and
no one can tackle him.
No, he's so big, man. He's like Clayton Oliver.
Yeah,
he's this massive, and Yeah, even this when we were going inside 50, they were just getting back on us too easily, walking it out. But yeah, they're a great team, and they got even their fours like Jesse Hogan that in some form, and Toby Green, he's definitely one of the best players in the comp. So that's going to be an interesting matchup, him and Maynard, I reckon, this weekend. So there'll be a bit going on there, and it'll be pretty fiery.
I read an article. They think that they're going to stir Toby up because that's one of those games where you generally have to do something. But we haven't seen much of that lately. Do you think that they're going to? Because Toby's been very calm deliberately for the last 2 years, and you can see with his leadership and all that there's no need to get in the the hustle and bustle of it because he knows he's tough. He knows he's a grouse player, and he knows that they're just trying to get in his head. But this one's got a bit of like, you feel like something could happen.
I reckon on that point, it's been the Toby or bust show for a while. But now, how good's Hogan going? Daniels, Bedford, Riccardi. They feel like they've got. Like he's probably walking a little bit more comfortable. Now, Toby Green, he's very important to have a good game, but I think they can still find a way if he is somewhat blanketed out of the game. Riccardi should have kicked play 6 on the weekend nearly, just if he straightens his radar up.
Yeah, those two small fours like Bedford and Daniels,
Daniels
their work rate too. They just get up, their pressure.
He's
so
got
clean.
the best sidestep, one of the best I've seen at pace. Like he can get the ball, sprint, and then cut, and he's very hard to tackle. Yeah, once he's got the ball, they got to. You can clearly see they've got the Richmond of old game plan, and they've got the weapons that can play that high half forward pressure and then deliver the ball, and then they've got guns that can finish it. Yeah, it's been so good and rewarding to see Jesse Hogan doing so well. From what he's had a tough trot over the last 5 years, and everyone probably knocked him, and he's just really starting to just show him why he's the NAB rising star and such a gun.
3-club player.
3-club player, yeah.
One.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? Who do you think is going to win?
It's a tough game for me. I find this is going to be one of the hardest games for Collingwood. I'm sort of going on the Collingwood side because of Bobby. Yeah. I'm going to tip Collingwood, but it's going to be a tough game.
So you're saying a goal maybe, like.
Yeah, I reckon under 12 points.
Bobby go? Because Bobby's a former Giant. Well, that wouldn't. He's a hill, is he?
He's already played them,
unflappable.
Yeah, no, I guess he'd probably be like wanting to beat your old team.
Big game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a massive game. It's a hard one to pick, man. I could go either way, but obviously got to pick one, and I'm going to go Collingwood.
I'm with you. I think you'll be tipping the Giants.
And with my head and heart, I honestly have. I think I've been tipping a little bit with my heart on this show, but I generally think head and heart.
You can say that stats and all that they found a way to win that first qualifying final. And there might be something in that you'd imagine 100% the last 2 weeks they've won that. Fly would say we won the game. So, but behind closed doors they'd be going to work on we've got to improve this and this to win a prelim. So was it the spark they needed to get the result more comfortably this weekend, maybe. But the wave of it's like nothing I've bloody seen before, this Giants thing. Like they just keep coming and showing up, and they have got the weapons holistically, like the mids. They've got the toughness, the talent. So the toughness is like Bedford and Daniels up and down the ground. Green on the inside, Taylor down back, Connor Iden. So they've got enough toughness, but then the talent and the cherry of Kelly and Green and Cornelio and whatnot. I think it's a long-winded way of saying I just think they're a better team as well. So
close
the way they're going,
you've sold me here, mate. I'm about to jump on the tsunami.
Yeah.
Well, it is a tsunami, and we used to call it the Ferrari, but it's a genuine tsunami now. And I reckon they've got they've understood the game plan over like a long period of time. I think they've won 11 of the last 13.
Yeah,
they lost
12,
to Port.
I think
12. They lost to Port by 50-something points. It was just an outlier. Like it was almost one of those games you just rip up. If you were a coach, you'd go, "That's not us. Let's not even review it." And then they've just carried back on the form that they had the weeks prior. So, mate, I honestly reckon they can go all the way with the team they've got. And it's a team that you got to remember, like, if you look at it from a list profile point of view, I put my GM hat on, and their salary cap has been cooked for a few years. Like, there's a reason why it's cooked, because they've got so many guns they've paid, and that's the list you're seeing right now. And I think right now is their time.
How many prelims have they been to?
4.
Yeah, one. Obviously,
yeah, 1-1. So
this will be 5. Or this is
no,
4th.
This is their 4th. I'm pretty sure I read that. And don't quote me on it, guys. But I think I saw that.
And Collingwood once, the Bulldogs won,
Richmond maybe. Yeah, but they've been to semis. They've had a very successful period. And I reckon talk about luck. You'd understand this with Hawthorn, and I think Freo. We probably didn't have. There's a couple of people that were like Jono and Ibo.
Jono McFarlane.
Ibo was out. Bush had it. Like it wasn't a healthy list in terms of like your best list. Giants have the best like players on the park right now, and I reckon that when they were in the grand final 2019, mate, it was the complete opposite. Every bloke, like Lockie Whitfield, appendicitis that week of, Matt DeBoer knee, Toby Green didn't play prelim, Cogs was out with an ACL. Like they had a lot of players not play. Phil Davis had a calf. This was just a completely different like setup, and I reckon this year is their year. And the way they play, it's they don't let you score, and they also fly off turnover. Like they do talk about how they score off turnover heavily. And the coach this week said, we've actually been scoring a lot of stoppages, which is just a bonus. And if we can continue that, we're going to be hard to beat. So, yeah.
Who are you going for?
I'm going for the Giants.
Yeah, I'll go with you.
I just think they're in way better form. But it's going to be, like you said, it's going to be the game. I can't wait to watch.
No, I'm not. I got my little one. Sam's got a hens this weekend, so me and the little one go to a hotel for Friday and Saturday night because all the girls are staying at mine.
Oh, that's great. Just volume up.
Volume up. Put Harriet to bed and watch the footy.
Nah, it should be good.
Couple of beers.
A couple of beers for sure. Oh, there you go. So you're tipping the Giants.
Correct.
So we've got a little,
Yeah, I saw a couple of weeks ago. He was no good.
No, I was no good. He was pumping me. And then now it's all tied up. So
I think the way I think I'm reading, it's going to come down to the granny. And if we're equal, you probably don't have to go on margin.
Yeah, you have to go margin for sure. Well, let's get to the next game. Let's talk about the Brisbane Lions hosting Carlton. Before we talk about that game, let's just talk about Melbourne and Carlton because it was a pretty amazing finish considering how it was finished. Blake Acres, Acres has been unbelievable. Like keeps popping up, kicking goals.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row. And then Doherty, obviously the shoulder, and then has the 2-goal assist to finish the game. And once again, the D's dominated the game, probably missed opportunities. And D's haven't allowed teams to score against them. They're a bit of a hard team. They're very good defensively, but they've come up a bit short and gone out in straight sets like Port. So, Carlton get there. What do you think? What do you think of that game?
Like 2 weeks in a row, Melbourne had the game and just let themselves. Like they had 3 or 4 chances to win it in that last quarter just with toughest shots, but you execute one of those shots, I think there was 3 shots, to put them out to like 2+ goals, so like your 13, 14, 15 points, which that just becomes in the last quarter. It's a good buffer and it's bloody hard to draw back, but you miss and give the ball back to them and that pro-Carlton crowd for 2 big Melbourne clubs was phenomenal. I wasn't there, but all the reports were that it was 85% Carlton.
Yeah.
And they went bananas right at the end. Blake Acres, a winger winning the game 2 weeks in a row.
Mate, no one was on him.
How they got a +1 forward of the ball?
Well, do you reckon they just said, remember they used to say lose by 3 or win by 1 point?
I would have thought Melbourne would have had numbers back.
Well, Melbourne, the only bloke that they had back was 2-on-1.
I guess they went to the open side. They would have been,
do you reckon he just slipped forward? Because I couldn't on the TV, he might have been there, but on the TV you could see a 2v1 Carlton's way, and he's a winger.
The other guy was Kemp, who was sitting up back. So Kemp got forward and dragged Bailey Fritsch. So it was Bailey Fritsch, the only Melbourne defender on Kemp. And like your point, it's very much, boys, you got to win the game. So caution of the win. But Acres had an effort just moments before. Melbourne cleared it out, and Acres just kind of stayed there and just said, well, if you're going to beat us, pick one and beat us. But if we win it back,
I'm here.
Which they won it back, and then they had a couple of really they won 3 50-50s in a row, really.
Need to hold him up there.
There's a bit of a contest. I don't know who it was, but like when it could have just been you take the body and it's like probably game over.
Even a free kick, like if he had to club at him and
the switch, was it Wiedering? Was it Wiedering, the big fullback just going bang to the corridor? Like, was it Wiedering?
Yeah, Wiedering to Ollie Holland.
That kick's ballsy, and like that's a leadership thing, and I reckon that's just like I don't care if this doesn't like we're going to win the game there, and he's going bang, bang, 250, and then bang. It was awesome.
Yeah. I was sort of cheering for Carlton, even though I don't normally go for them, but it was good to see.
Because their crowd, man, their fans are like how good is it for AFL having like all the big dogs up? Even like the Saints crowd. I went to the Saints-Giants game and the 65,000, let's call it 60,000 Saints fans, maybe more. Like it was that loud when because you guys started coming back. But it's good for footy here, like with these massive
Yeah,
crowds.
definitely. Imagine if the granny was Carlton and Collingwood.
Wow,
How big
yeah, I
that'd
think
be.
Goz put up. Big Goz has been unbelievable on his
He's been
content.
doing-
Dude,
Well,
that's footy.
After every game when they play, I'm not even lying. I'll go on his Instagram just to see his story or see what he's posting.
When it was like, fuck off back to Casey. I was like, it's just brutal, doesn't it? I honestly reckon he'd have to walk down the street with that hat on, I reckon.
Okay, he's really good mates with Stephen May. And Stephen May, as you know, like, he is a great person. He could get he can get angry. So
I think they understand the piss take, don't they?
Like straight after the game, you'd want to give him a week.
Yeah, I think when you're doing that, you just it's one of those things you can't be sitting on the fence, and Goz is completely as far away from the fence and on Carlton's side as possible, and that's why it's so good. And blokes like us love it. I mean, even if he beats people's teams, people's like team, the fans are kind of like agreeing with him.
My partner doesn't even, like Sam, she doesn't really even watch footy, but she always sends me stuff as well. It's so good.
The lids are off. Mate, he's on fire. I think he's on. Yeah. So, and the last thing was when Akers played on and kicked it. I thought he missed to the left. I was like, did he just miss that? Yeah, but he didn't. But like on the camera angle, it looked really tight. I was like, imagine he missed that. Like, it would have been
get running. Just make sure.
What do you think? If you marked that, are you playing on, or are you going to go back and take because you?
No, I probably would play on like how he did, but I just would have kicked it soft and ran in a couple more steps.
If you had seen, he just would have felt the moment and bang.
Yeah, that's when you're not thinking it happens.
Yeah, I'd rather play on because if you go back and have a set shot, it's a bit like, pressure's on you.
Oh, it is actually, you get a bit of like, I'll get a bit anxious watching big moments late because you just want people to do good and not fail. And if they do, you know what's going to happen with all the media.
Haven't mentioned a lick of who they're playing, Brisbane.
No, we're talking about that now. So Brisbane,
they're sitting there, but they're just sitting there pretty, like all this stuff, I reckon, I think just my take on this game, right, is I think Brisbane are going to win really easily.
Yeah, I wonder what the...
which I don't love, because like, you want these games to be tight, but I think it's kind of going to be Carlton. The Giants are riding a wave, but I feel like they can maintain. Whereas Carlton, I think they've come a long way. I reckon they've been a bit battered, and they've found a way. Even Akers, you can tell his shoulders a bit. Cripps had the ribs. Yeah, just go on to Brisbane.
Got the shoulder as well.
Yeah, go to Brisbane. One more. Like, they won't have that surge of support. Well, they'll have a fair bit of support, but it's different at the Gabba compared to.
Well, they might not have enough. There might not be any tickets available for their.
No bloody flight. I think the bloody
flights went
price gouging.
Well, big shout out to Benny Mack. I think he turned 30. We're going to fly up and surprise him, and it was going to be this weekend.
Can't do it.
And or the weekend before, it was like $1,000 just to basic tickets. Like, come on. Yeah. So I don't reckon. Or some people will go up because obviously they've been waiting for a while. But I think. Let's talk about the game. But I think Brisbane will be pretty happy sitting back watching them bash each other and go head to head against Melbourne last week. Brisbane are, talk about list profile. Brisbane are healthy as they get, and I think Jack Gunston's now available. Like they've got the healthiest list as well, and they've got
Ashcroft's the only one really out of that best side.
Yeah,
Jack Payne's got a bit of a sore neck.
Okay,
but yeah, they're pretty,
outside of that, you talk about
Gunston come in. Does he?
Well, you know because who does
he come in for?
Well, he's the coach. Let's ask Coach Barlow before we talk about wherever he
doesn't come in, mate. Unfortunately, and he's but he won 4, so get stuffed.
Yeah,
he won 4 or 3?
3.
No,
he's up there for that reason, but they've got there with and without him. Really, like he hasn't played for the majority of the year, has he?
No, back end.
Yeah, back end.
He started and he even dropped himself at the start of the year. It'd be a big call to put him in above a youngster that's playing pretty well. And I reckon like a Cam Rayner's kind of taken it to the next level up there. And you got
so
Bailey.
The one was it's a different role, but Fletcher's playing the wing and he's kicked 3 goals. So, like Fletcher's playing.
You can't drop a bloke kicking 3, can you?
Exactly. I think their forward line's pretty set. They got Danaher, Hipwood, Charlie Cameron, Zach Bailey, Cam Rayner, Link McCarthy. And then one more that kind of goes through there, like a wing forward.
Sometimes does he sit on a half forward?
Yeah, McCluggage sometimes goes.
They've got heaps that can roll around.
Yeah, he's not, and not even the sub. I think the sub will. They went with Jared Lyons a week before. They do the sub.
Could be an interesting one.
They do the sub a bit different, Brisbane. I've heard Fagan say
they had the ruckman a couple of times as the sub.
Yeah, was it a tactical sub?
Well, they talked about people say I'll bring speed and pace and ball use into because they're such a kind of contested and competitive side, right? Brisbane, they think. The sub is quite important to come in and maintain the rage around the ball, which is like a Jared Lyons player. So unless they change that, unless they change that mentality, I feel like they've got enough in the side. I think he stays as a sub.
And congratulations to Jared, who just won the VFL Best and Fairest. And we've got the VFL Coach of the Year. Congratulations, Mickey.
I guarantee I'm good mates with Jared Lyons, right? So I'm his coach in the Team of the Year. Don't think he'd be listening to much I say.
Yeah. He'd be taking the piss out of you in the background.
And he is a coach in waiting, Jared Lyons. Very, very clever. Doesn't have great emotional intelligence. He's quite black and white, not emotive. But
yeah, sometimes that's what you need with a coach.
But great knowledge of
the game.
Unbelievable knowledge of the game.
He'd need a GM. Mate, congratulations. Before I go to actually wherever, I don't want to skip over this. Let's go to our tips for the game. What do you think's going to happen, Bradley?
Yeah, no, I think Brisbane win. Probably 20 to 30 points. I just don't see anyone beating them up there. It's their fortress, and I think they get it done.
You guys got close a couple of weeks ago, within 12 points, but I'm with you. Brisbane pretty easy.
Yeah, they probably should have beat us by a bit more, but.
What was it about them? Like, what did you think the Brisbane do so well?
I think
what
he spoke about in their contest, like their midfield's unreal. They're so clean. Like Lockie Neal, this is how they get the ball and how they dish it out, get it to the outside, and their forward line's damaging too with those boys up there.
Yeah, Mick, you're going for Brisbane.
Yeah, Brisbane. I think pretty easy. Carlton will get a couple back. They'll get Mackay and Martin. I think Martin's
a big end. Mackay's an interesting one.
Yeah, but maybe take one of the tolls. Take Payne or what's his name?
Andrews.
Big Andrews. So.
Yeah. There's some great matchups across the field.
Who you got, Train?
Yeah, Brisbane.
So
I think.
we all think. Well, you and I think Brisbane GWS Grand Final.
Yeah, the AFL won't like that, and I don't think anyone will like that.
I'm all for
for obvious reasons.
I got. There's storylines
We've been interstate, us boys, so we don't mind.
Yeah. It's but to be honest, okay, let's just stop with our AFL hats on, thinking about money and selling it out. I still think it's been a bit of discussion around will it sell out or not. It's a big sporting event. We've had record numbers this year. I think if people can't normally afford a ticket this year, if that was to happen, they could, right? I reckon they'll sell it out. And secondly, Brisbane Giants, it'd be a fucking incredible game. Like now we're talking, two healthy teams, two teams flying. Brisbane hasn't lost for ages. Giants hasn't lost much as well. Two pretty cool teams. I don't think anyone hates them. People will pick a side. It'd be a cracking game. Like if you were,
watch a game of good footy.
Yeah.
I think if one of
there's matchups all across the field.
If one of Carlton or Collingwood can sneak in, I think the week's going to be pretty big around town.
Yeah. Oh, Melbourne would be let's imagine it's Collingwood. Imagine Collingwood Carlton.
Yeah, it's nice to be around Melbourne when the
I reckon I'm getting out of Melbourne if it's Collingwood Carlton. It'd be going too hot. It'd be going wild.
Imagine how much tickets we're going for. Bloody 10K.
Oh, mate. It'd be 50. Yeah. If you got a spare, you can give me some. I wouldn't mind. I'll load them.
I can't sell them, mate.
Cost price.
And then I'll mark them up. I had a guy actually messaged me the other day. I said I'd help him, but yeah, he's in.
And then as you said that, you're like, I don't think I can.
No, I said, I don't know. I don't have any tickets. I don't know, but he's a Carlton. He goes, mate, I'd do anything for them. And I said, oh, well, if someone's got them, then they can palm them off, then happy days. But there'd be a lot of people desperately trying to find tickets if it's Carlton, Collingwood, or just one of them in. Well, there you go. We're both tipping the same thing. Now, Mick, let's get to Werribee. Congratulations.
Thanks,
18 on the trot? Or
That'd be nice to get 18.
So we've had 17.
Yeah.
So 18 on the trot, coach of the year, and then now we're going, there's only one more thing we need to tick right now, and that's obviously this weekend. Mate, how are you feeling, honestly?
I feel really good, yeah. Bloody oath. And Bradley would be good to talk to about this because from a playing point of view, the prelims are, as much as, the prelims do carry a heightened bit of anxiety and pressure because there is still uncertainty about, what the next week looks like. I think when you make that grand final, there's some normality around even little things like early in the week you start to or just plan all the stuff, all the external shit that you get out of the way. It's like, this is what the plans are in terms of functions and prep and the calendar for the week. And then you get on with it. So we're at now Wednesday where we're just kind of flowing into the week and training as per and preparing as per. But the prelim, those games are full of bloody angst and pressure. So to get through that, you can take a quick breathe out for 24 hours and get on with it. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I always found prelims for us as well are always the toughest games. I think even 4 of the prelims that we played in 2012 to 15, 3 of them under 5 points.
Yeah, right.
One of them was 12 points. So they're all close games and they'll pretty much like our grand final, to get there. And then when you get to grand final, like you said, you've made it. You've got to put it all on the line. It's our last day. So, you prepare this is my last one, and just got to give it my all and leave it all out there. And it's an exciting week too, just to embrace it and enjoy the week and all the people that come out of the woodworks, as you were
They do come out of the woodworks.
Well, yeah. So do you notice that? Like both of you boys, have, you've played in grannies and you're now coaching and you've played. Like, can you remember? And now, is that people just start popping up and go, "G'day, mate."
Give me changes.
Yeah, like they really want to be your mates.
I think they need a bit of help if they need the $15 ticket to the VFL game. So get down, come one, come all, $15.
I was not too bad because I'm from Perth, so like coming over here was pretty pricey for people to do. But you still would have people from Melbourne. Oh, can you get me tickets? Can you get me this? And I remember Clarko used to always be like, leading into grand final with our phones, like only message people that you normally would. Everyone else, you can forget about them till after the game.
So prelim's done. You're both, you've been there and you're going there now, coach. Now grand final week, right? Like I was emergency for a granny, so I was fucking training my ass off, trying to show the coach I'm ready to go if you need someone, right? But I was popping, but I'll tell you what, I looked even better because no one else was popping because they were saving every bit of juice. No one wanted to get over 70% because they just wanted to save themselves. Do you find that players are trying to save themselves a little bit, play it a little bit more?
Niggles or anything in training.
Like you don't want to do a hammy at training. Like, do you notice that? And do you think about that a little bit?
About when I was younger, like I was just full of beans and just so excited. I would have been running around trying to make boys chase me around and just, having so much fun. I wasn't thinking about any of those things. But definitely, as you get older, you're probably leading into a grand final. You'll be making sure your body's feeling fine, trying to save as much energy as you can, and start preparing for the game.
Program, now that I tweak it, Granny, like, are you tweaking it? Mick, you giving the boys a bit of a light and like a light load?
It is. I think the high performance staff, that they're very much like, pretty much from the prelim week, you can really pull it back. But there's still stuff we're working at, like we'll train Thursday night, Sunday kind of twilightish game, 3 o'clock. So we'll still kind of get some game style and some intensity in terms of speed up. It's pretty boring stuff, really, but Thursday will be a bit longer and we'll do some game style, but we're very much, before those drills, you'd say to the players, right, we need the intensity in terms of your spread and your movement. But the old contact stuff is, if there's ever a high ball or ground ball where we're thinking, no, just like a coach will double whistle it or we're happy for you to self-preserve.
Oh, it's great. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time. Have you got any cashies, big fella? They putting you at the front, making you sign some autographs. What are you?
Didn't you say you saw Colin before you were here? So I've been trying to call him, mate, to get me some cashies for next week. I need the money for the off season.
It's always a good thing if you can get one. I wouldn't know what they are. Mix the king of cashies.
No, well now I haven't got much pull anymore.
Have you had a fair few messages this week though? It's been a great week.
It was great because I spoke to someone about this before. Our club, Werribee, like VFL standalone, the nature of it, because I used to play for them, right? I've got drafted out of Werribee and played with great mates that I'm still mates with today. But footy clubs are very much places that people pass through, right? So staff and players, and we've got a few people within our club that might have been there for 20 plus years. The CEO has been, couple of volunteers would have been there for 20 plus years. But in the last 20, 30 years, people are kind of, you come, you stop, you're in it for 3 or 4 years, and then they're off to platform into the next thing, like work, life, whatever it is. But I reckon anyone who's been involved with the Werribee Footy Club in the last 30 to 40 years has this strong connection with this week because, strong connection with the whole club, right? But the fact that kind of the eyes come onto it because of a grand final, it stirs up the emotion of how important it was to them, whether they played in the 90s or the 2000s. And we haven't had the ultimate success for 30 years. But I think people who have been involved in the club for that period, when we haven't gone to the grand final or got the result, riding the wave in their own way. So it's pretty special. A lot of the guys I played with are kind of catching up the day of the game and coming down. They wouldn't have been to a game. They might have been 1 or 2 games in the last 5 years. But it's like anything. All 3 of us at Freo, at Hawthorn, even with the Giants and the Suns for myself, you're only there for a short time, but you'll always have that attachment and connection to the club, regardless of all the people that were there when you were there have moved on. It's amazing footy clubs, and we're lucky to have a pretty crust-on supporter base and past player group.
Nah, well said, and you're spot on there, Mick. It's a little deeper connection. Have you thought much about your opposition? Because you're playing against the Gold Coast Suns, your old mob, and there is a bit of noise around the skipper potentially getting reported and whatnot, but clearly that wouldn't bother you. But do you look much into the Gold Coast Suns? Because there's a fair few players that play AFL in that team, and it's a good opponent. What do you think? Did you expect them to be in the grand final?
100%. They lost to the Dons after the siren, so close game. They lost to us by 2 points. A game which they were up. I reckon they were up for 3.5 quarters. So I reckon they've been behind in games for, maybe 3 or maybe 6 or 7 quarters for the whole year. So that's a fairly dominant year that they've had. They've had real availability, kind of probably 20, they'll probably have 21 full-timers this week. We've got 0 games of AFL experience on our whole list. So we'll very much embrace the semi-pro versus the full-time environment this week, because we still have to go about working and uni and training at nights, and we kind of know the other side of the coin of, they've still got their morning weight session, morning training, home playing PlayStation
Your boys
at
are
4
on the
p.m.
jackhammers and all that, don't you?
No, we got them off with the medical certificate. But they're a good side. But I don't take away from how much admiration I have for my boys and what they've been able to do with number 1 defence in the comp. Second and third in contest and clearance. And our ball movement has, in the back half of the year, been pretty potent. So we need to put it together for 4 more quarters. Oh, there's the coach talk for you.
There it is.
Tommy, who's your tip for the weekend, mate?
Werribee all the way.
Yeah,
all the way. We're rooting for you. It'd be great as well. And Mick being a young coach, I honestly think there's a huge opportunity in the next level when you're ready, and to get this done. And Choco Williams has already come out and given you a pump up, and the resume does speak for itself. So 18 on the trot as a standalone with no AFL players against pretty much full-timers. Yeah, they are full-timers. And
Ross,
how good.
Ross texts me. He texts me on. Most people, again, like you say, bandwagon jumpers, people that kind of want to get involved. He straightened me out pretty quickly. I think it was Sunday morning. So one Saturday, and you feel pretty good. Like there's a week to go. And he pretty much said, I think it was like, well done. Full stop. New paragraph. The back slappers will come. Ignore them. Push them aside. There's work to be done. So I'm in straight away. I was like, I get the laptop, and because I've just followed the same routine, like coding the game and same reviews and all that stuff. So it's exciting, but pretty well driven.
Get the chocolates and he loves the stubby, but it'll be the tastiest stubby you've ever had. Nice, Well, Bradley, thanks so much for coming on, mate. Always great to see you as well. Always welcome back here. You're very enjoyable to listen to. Everyone loves you, and all the best with the next pre-season and everything going on. Enjoy family time. Hopefully, for Bobby's sake, that you and the family can celebrate, but hopefully for my sake, I kind of want the Giants boys to get it done. And Mickey, all the best, as we've said, to the Werribee Footy, to everyone out there that has won premierships and maybe lost, head up. But all the best. We hope you're all going well this week. Again, to all the players out there, we hope you all have a great performance. May the best team win, and thank you for tuning in to Aces Premiership Countdown. We'll see you next week for a massive show. We might even get Bradley Hill back for the grand final show. We'll try and make it as big as possible, and Mick might even be coming live from Wacky Wednesday.
No, I'll be on deck. Wednesday.
If we have a premiership coach, next week.
Yeah, we might even get the premiership medals in. I think, who knows? We'll see where we go. Take care, guys. Like and subscribe. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought of this one, and let us know what you'd like us to do for next week's big show, the AFL Grand Final. That's us done. See you next week. One more time, because I really mean it. I just want to say a massive thank you for all the support you continue to give us at the Ausmerican Aces. If you want to further support us, make sure you like and subscribe, hit the follow button so you can keep up to date with all our exciting shows and announcements. Righto, now it's time to give our sponsors a massive plug. Aces, I know I always talk about the RIXXs, but I've got to offer you the discount again. In case you've forgotten, or in case you're sleeping under a rock, we have a special discount code for everyone that listens to this podcast or watch the podcast. It's ACES. Head online to rixeyewear.com.au and use the discount code ACES, and you'll get 20% off. That's right, 20% off, 1/5 at checkout, and free express shipping. So head online, rixeyewear.com.au, and check it out. Take AFL finals to the Neds level with an early payout. Place a head-to-head bet on the AFL finals this week, and if your team's up by 12 points or more at halftime, you'll get paid out as a winner. How good is that? Applies to the first 250 staked. Single bets only, terms and conditions apply, and available on the website. Take it to the Neds level. chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.